everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here to do my February in and out. So I try to do these videos about every month and I just will tell you all the books that I hauled for the month as well as the books that I unhauled for the month. So I feel like some shame on this one because it just got me good. This month got me good. We had a library book sale and I did a whole separate video with the haul from that book sale because it was a lot, and yet I still have an overwhelmingly large haul. I've just felt like I needed some like retail therapy, and then I've also January and February have been really good reading months, and so I've been really motivated and on fire to read, which means why not buy so many books that you cannot keep up with? Right? That makes sense, right? So let's just get into it. We've got a couple categories here. I'm going to do the books that I'm hauling that I have not read, books that I'm hauling that I have already read, and then books that I'm both hauling and unhauling this month because I've read them and I no longer want to keep them. So these books have all come from various different places. I got a handful from the publishers, so thank you to all the wonderful publishers who support YouTubers. I also got some because my daughter and I have been reading through chapter books really fast from the library, so we've been going to the library more, and they've got a constant little Friends of the Library bookstore, it's always there. And they're $1 for paperbacks and $2 for hardbacks, and they always have good stuff. And so, I've gone in there a couple times. I also needed one book from Thrift Books, so of course I ordered 4. Let's just not talk about it. Let's just get into the book. So the first one is Keeping Lucy by T. Greenwood. So this one is about a mother. It says, I think, the heartbreaking and uplifting story inspired by incredible true events of how far one mother must go to protect her daughter. So this woman, she had a baby and she was born with Down syndrome. And so the husband sent her to this special school that's like a boarding school, send her off, not see her again. And so this mother, but 2 years later, when Jenny's best friend Marcia shows her a series of articles exposing Willowbridge as hell on earth, it's neglected kids, all that kind of stuff. She knows she can't leave her daughter there, so she goes with Jenny's now 6-year-old son. They go to see what happened, and it says a heart-racing journey across state lines, turning Jenny into a fugitive. So I don't know. I just love motherhood stories, and this one sounds like it's going to be intense and really put things on the line. So can't wait. Next is Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. So this one, I feel like I don't even need to explain because Susan Meisner can do no wrong. I am not a huge historical fiction lover, and yet I love Susan Meisner and everything she writes. And this one is a present-day Oxford student in Oxford, England. She is interviewing somebody about their time in the war, and so then it jumps back to 1940s England. And I think sisters who are separated. I don't really know. It's one sister who is much older taking care of her younger sister, and they're separated for some reason, and it sounds so good. Next is Save What's Left by Elizabeth Castellano, and this one is an outrageously funny debut about a woman who moves to a small beach town looking for peace, only to find herself in an all-out war with her neighbors. So this one, the first line just cracks me up. When Kathleen Dean's husband Tom tells her he's no longer happy with his life and their marriage, Kathleen's confused. They live in Kansas. They've been married 30 years. Who said anything about being happy? I just think this cracks me up. As a Kansan, it's funny, and just as a married lady, it's funny. Happiness, sunshine, rainbows, this is, married life is not exactly what you expect, I would say. But so she moves to a coastal town, and because it says it's an unbeach read, it pulls back the curtain on life in a beach town, revealing the true cost of a pretty view. So it sounds super fun. Next is Kai Rose Takes a Leap, and this is one that the author reached out and asked if I wanted to read it, and I thought it would sound interesting. So it's the year 2030, and it's got this new age, or not new age, but futuristic font, and 2030 is 7 years. But students at Maker X20 are building gadgets for astronauts about to land on Mars, but 12-year-old Kai Rose has a secret mission of her own. She's a freak. Well, at least that's what her classmates say when they see her talk to animals. All Kai Rose wants to do is be normal like everyone else and win over Georgia, the captain of the soccer team and most popular girl in school. Meanwhile, a mysterious migration leaves a young dolphin stranded. Will Kai Rose help? So, sounds interesting. I just love all the very high-tech kind of futuristic elements of a book told in 2030. Sounds good though. Next is Sweet Pea Summer by Alice Murray. So Alice Murray writes like short, really charming little stories. This one's 250, 60 pages, and it's about 8 years ago, May Anderson made the biggest mistake of her life and watched her high school sweetheart, Tom Riley, leave Hillsborough, California, and her in his rearview mirror. Now, after traveling the world, he's come back home. So it's a second chance romance. And I think at first they just really want to avoid each other and painful reminders, but they have to work together to make this food and wine festival, which this just sounds so like summery and cozy. I can't wait. Next is In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. So this one is like a not so meet cute about this girl. She's just having a rough day. And then I think her, she gets laid off and the subway doors ripped her favorite silk dress. And now she's flashed her unmentionables to half of Lower Manhattan. And this guy comes in to like help her. And then she it becomes a social media frenzy because people caught this on camera. And so, I think it's going to be funny. I don't know. They keep like meeting up and they have a surprising relationship. Next is Every Note Played by Lisa Genova. So this is one of the few Lisa Genova books that I have not read, and I love her. She was a neuroscientist, and so a lot of her books are very well thought out. They're not at all like hard to read, but like Still Alice is about dementia, and it's like I learned so much. And this one is about ALS. So it's about a concert pianist. His fingers obviously are very, very important to his career, and then he gets ALS. And I think we also get the perspective of his ex-wife who has to kind of step in and help care for him. And she's got a lot of resentment about different things. And it just sounds like I know I'll love it. Lisa Genova, I have yet to read a book that I don't like from her. Next is The House on Mulberry Street, and this one, and also I think the New York Minute or one of them was blurbed by Christina Lauren. So both of these sound fun for that reason alone. But this one is for these two small town best friends. Sharing a kiss might be the worst mistake of their lives or the best thing that's ever happened to them. So it's about a woman and her male best friend, and I think unrequited love. He's got feelings for her that he's never spoken, and so she's wanting to she's running her family's inn and teaching painting, but her dream is being an artist, and she wants to launch an arts festival, so she needs his help, but he's being kind of standoffish, and it's because he's got feelings for her that she doesn't know about. So we'll see. Next are my book of the month picks. So Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is a backlist one, and this one I've been hearing more and more about it. I've read one Kennedy Ryan and I just don't get the hype from what I read, but I've only read one, and this one is like one of my favorite tropes, which is marriage in trouble / like real life what happens in marriage. And this is about a couple that I think something tragic happened that kind of put a rift in them, and they decide to divorce, I think, but they're still co-parenting and running a business together, I think, and co-parenting their two kids and running a thriving business together, and they're always drawn back together. And so it's like, before I actually let go, should we be together? Should we not? And I just love that idea. And one of my favorite books of all times is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And it's about a couple who decide to take a year apart, and kind of the same thing. They're like, different reasons have made them think that a split is the best, but they do this year apart to see, like, are we better off together or not? And I feel like it is just really helpful for re-examining my own marriage at times, and just I feel like this could really hit home. So sounds good. My other book of the month pick is Georgie All Along by Kate Claiborne. So I have not read Love Lettering, which I think is her other book. I don't know if she just has the two or not, but this one I just think is like a women's fiction about this woman trying to find herself. And it says, honest and deeply emotional, Georgie All Along is a smart, tender must-read for everyone who's ever wondered about the life that got away. So another one of my favorite tropes is kind of that what could have been idea. So this one is about one woman's quest to reinvent herself, and reflection on how the hopes, dreams, and stories from our past shape our future. So she finds a diary she wrote as a teenager filled with possibilities of like what her life could be like, and now she's just wanting to like use that as a guide to get started. And so I think there's maybe a romance, but I don't know. Sounds good. And then the last in this like category of books I'm hauling that I have not read is this one that I was sent from the publisher, Esther's Notebooks. And you guys, this one I did not expect to be this large. It is huge, but it is comics, and it sounds so cute and interesting. So this comic book author, Riyadh's, well, I'm not sure how to say his name, and I don't want to butcher it, or her name, I'm not sure. But she or he, they had best friends living in Paris, and every week he called, and their starting 9-year-old, so I think it's 9 to 12, for 3 years he called every week, and the 9-year-old daughter would tell him about like what was going on, and then he would make a comic about what she had to say. And so it just sounds so cute. Esther's Notebook gathers 156 of those strips spanning Esther's life from ages 9 through 12, giving us a delightful look into the daily dramas of this thoughtful, intelligent, and high-spirited girl. So I have a 5-year-old who will tell anybody her life story over and over and over. She loves to talk, and I feel like this will probably remind me a lot of her. So those are all the books that I'm hauling that I have not read. Now let's get into the ones that I'm hauling that I have read. So these are all new to my shelf. Your Good Body, and this is by Jennifer Taylor Wagner, and this is a nonfiction about embracing a body positive mindset in a perfection-focused world. So this is just a body positivity thing, and I read it digitally, and the reason I really wanted a physical copy is because at the end of every chapter, it's got these little things, and it says flip the script. So instead of telling yourself this, say this instead. And then it's got like journal prompts to reflect on and an action step to take. And I feel like this would be really good to go through again, actually doing all of those things. So I am really glad to have a copy. Next is The Little Wartime Library by Kate Thompson. So I actually just finished this last night, and this is a book about wartime. So it's 1944, and Clara Button is not an ordinary librarian. She has started a library in the underground tube station in England, I think. Yeah, London. And it's just about the community that's there, some of the political stuff that's going on that is kind of threatening this little wartime library, and just the people, the love of books. And then it also gets in a little bit to what happens when the war is over and it becomes safe for them to kind of come above ground and what that's like. So, yeah, it was good. I liked it. Next is one of my favorites, and this is Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. So this is a sweet little book about this girl who her husband has died, and everybody thinks she's like deep in grief, and she's not. And a man, he was a Major League Baseball player who got the yips, which is a condition that makes him no longer able to pitch. And so he like rents out her little like she's got like a garage apartment or something, and it's their romance, but it's really her starting over, as the title would imply. So I would say this is probably more women's fiction, and I love this book, so I wanted to have a copy for my shelves, and it was $1 from the bookstore, so okay. This is a Read with Jenna pick, and I think I'm going to do a Read with Jenna like deep dive, because I have loved all the books that I've read from her, so there's that. Okay, now the ones that I am unhauling and or that have both come in and are going out this month. So let's see. Okay, I just read this month, but it is Remember Me by Mary Higgins Clark, and apparently I really wanted to read it because I bought 2 copies, and I didn't like it. There are too many storylines, too much going on, and I just didn't like this book. This is about, it's got like 4 different storylines that don't even converge until the end, and we get so many like side characters and everything. At the base of it, it's about this girl named Minley and her husband. They rent a house in Cape Cod to try to like fix their marriage because they had a son or daughter or something go missing. And so there's a lot of like shamey talk about her being crazy, and it was just too much. Like I couldn't get my brain around who everybody was, and I didn't even care. So done. Then we've got The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. I did not hate this, but it was a 3-star romance for me. It's a fake dating situation. She is wanting to convince her friend that it's okay for her friend to date her ex-boyfriend. He is wanting to, he's a professor, and he's wanting to convince like Stanford, Harvard, I don't know, they're at one of the Ivy League schools. He's wanting to convince like the higher ups that he's not a flight risk, and so they will resume some of his grant funding. And so they have a meet cute where she like kisses him. He's a grumpy guy, and it's definitely the I hate everybody but you trope. Definitely like a grumpy sunshine kind of thing, and it was fine. I just know there's a lot of people who will love this more, so I will be putting this on my Pango bookstore, which is linked down below. Next is Hertz Gets Fused by Suzanne Purvis. So this one was sent to me by the awesome publishers, Owl's Nest Publishing. Katie from Life Between Words, she is one of the founders, and she's just the sweetest. And so I was really excited to read this. This is a middle grade told in verse about this young boy who his apartment or his house catches fire because of something he did, and so he has to go live with his uncle for a while. And I have not read that many stories told in verse, and I think I'm finding that I don't really love that format. It just feels like you have to read between the lines to get the full story, and I don't love it. So this one is an arc, so I will be giving this to a friend who I think they will like it more, and so we'll just be passing it on. And then the last one is On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel, and I actually DNF'd this one this month. This is based on, let's see, 6 women, mothers, daughters, sisters have gone missing, inspired by the unsolved murders of the Chillicothe Six. I don't know. This harrowing and haunting novel tells the story of 2 sisters, both who could be the next victims. So it's about 2 stories, and the title is because life has a beautiful side and a savage side, and we are just deep in the savage side. This is dark. It is gritty. It is dirty. I read half of it and was like, I just don't like being here. I don't like this. It's too dark for me. So I'm going to be passing this on. So that is everything that I'm hauling and unhauling for the month. As I said, I will be putting all of my unhauls on Pango Books. So it's linked down below if you ever want to see what I'm unhauling or what I've got. And, otherwise, yeah, we've got some reading to do. So let me know if you've read any of these books or if there's any that I should prioritize and what your thoughts are. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.